Hello, hello, and welcome back to The Composed Artist. I'm your host, Stephanie Gaffney, and today we are welcoming a delightful artist out of Florida. Her name is Ally Allianic. She has such a wonderful story. I really loved this conversation. I think you're going to learn a lot from her. Oh my gosh, she's experienced so much in the past 5 years. She had trial by fire, becoming a wedding painter, and then taking off and having some posts go super viral. And she learned a lot really fast. And part of her story is really interesting because she actually was in college studying to be a physicist in astronomy, so an astrophysicist. This is the path that she was on, and she discovered something about herself that made it very obvious that that is not what she was meant to do here on Earth. So please dive into this episode, enjoy, and without further ado, let me introduce to you Ally Allianic. Welcome to The Composed Artist, the podcast where we explore the intersection of artistry, entrepreneurship, and self-improvement and continue to pursue a more composed life. I'm your host, Stephanie, an artist specializing in live wedding painting, living in the vibrant and soulful city of New Orleans. Over the past decade, my job has taken me all over the world, meeting and creating art in front of thousands of people, and has allowed me to create a colorful life for myself and my family. Now, I help other artists build confidence, develop their techniques, and fall in love with the art of live wedding painting. I invite you to join us for inspiring stories of creative journeys, practical tips for running a successful art business, and honest conversations about the joys and challenges of running a studio and being a parent. This podcast is here to keep you company, keep you entertained, and is full of resources to help you on your journey to create a business that feeds your soul, makes an impact, and is insanely profitable. The Composed Artist is the podcast for the bold, creative, passionate, and genuine artist. Let's get started. Also, just so you know, this podcast is very heavily edited. So if I ask you a question and it's out of left field and you need a minute,
Sounds good.
Just take a second and think about it. And then if you start going down a train of thought and then you're like, no, let's redo that. Then we can redo it. No big deal. It was the only way. Yeah, it was the only way that I would be okay with having a podcast is because if it could be edited. I can't be trusted to speak live. This is insane.
I get that. Yeah. Sounds good.
Ally, you are so cool. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with me today. Please tell me, because I want to know, and everybody who's listening, tell us how you became a live wedding painter. Give us a little bit of your story.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored. I've looked up to you for so long through social media. Yeah, and I've just I didn't even know about wedding painting, live wedding painting 5 years ago until social media. And you were one of the first ones too that popped up, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is such a cool job." I was in college actually when I found out about live wedding painting, and at the time I was studying to be a physicist in
Wow.
yeah, a physicist in astronomy, so astrophysics.
Oh my gosh.
And my goal was to work for NASA and do research on extragalactic black holes, dark matter. That was where I was feeling called to go, and my parents were really pushing STEM on me growing up. So I really didn't have art on the forefront of my mind. I had started an art Instagram when I was in high school, and that was sort of just a side thing. It wasn't it was a hobby really because it was my passion, but I knew in my mind I was going to do physics, and I was going to go into either engineering or research. And so then, in college, I continued to do art, and I continued to post on Instagram, and I sold Etsy prints of my artwork. And then I had bumped into my friend. I was really heavily involved in the Catholic campus ministry at my school. I went to UCF, University of Central Florida, and I one of my friends there was a wedding photographer, and she had made an incredible business off of that. Her name's Catherine, and she was like, she's like, you know, you could totally do this live wedding painting. Like, have you seen it on Instagram and social media? It's become really big. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I know exactly what you're talking about. Like I've seen it. Like I think it's the coolest thing. Like, but I don't know. Like I've never thought about doing that. And she's like, well, I could get you a stylized shoot. I could get you, she was hosting a stylized shoot, and she was like, I could get promo photos for you, like marketing photos through that. You could practice at that shoot and it wouldn't be like crazy.
What a
Um,
hookup. That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, exactly. I was like, oh my gosh, like, of course. Like, yeah, her name's Catherine Murphy. She has an incredible job with photography. But yeah, she was like telling me, yeah, come over and practice and start with that. And funny enough, through that shoot, the model that was in that shoot, she was a stylized shoot, like a planner that she put together for stylized shoots, and she invited me to another one. And so I did like two other stylized shoots, and that helped me get into like live wedding painting. From then, people were like messaging me and reaching out to me through Instagram, and then that kind of kickstarted it. And then I
Oh
just
my gosh,
went
that's
from
so
there.
cool. Okay, so was this while you were still in college, like pursuing
Yeah.
your career path, and then this it overlapped, and this has been like 5 years. So at what
Yes.
point did you say, "You know what? We're going to reroute. we're going to really pursue this painting career?" Cuz I mean that what a shift. What like
Yes.
opposite
Yeah.
worlds. Wow. At what point did you make that decision? Or are you still
Yeah.
pursuing that and just not telling us?
No, during college, I was a sophomore when I first started learning about live wedding painting, and then junior year, I was 20. Yeah, I was 20 when I first started doing these stylized shoots and then weddings. So it's been like 3 years since like live wedding painting started for me, but I when I made the decision, it was actually like a year ago. Like to this day when I finally was
Wow.
like, okay, I'm gonna stop pursuing physics. And because at the time as well, when I started wedding painting, I'd already was working at Lockheed Martin for like an internship through there. And I was planning to go into defense industry, either SpaceX or not SpaceX, um, Blue Origin,
Mm.
SpaceX too. I had a bunch of different like job things that I was like looking at, and I had jobs interviews lined up because I was graduating last year around this time. And then I just felt so relieved when I wasn't getting the jobs. And I'm like, that shouldn't that shouldn't
Yeah.
feel like that. But I felt so relieved because I'm like, well, like that still gives me an opportunity to just like finally take the leap and like do art full time. And then finally, when I didn't get this like Blue Origin job that I thought like I was gonna get, but when I didn't get that and I felt so much relief, I was like, I need to just sit down and talk to my parents and tell them like I'm
Mm.
gonna just do this full time. And they were a little bit worried at first, but I think because of the viral video that like they knew I was getting like um clients and like there was interest in everything and that I could support
Yeah.
myself. So they were like, okay, like at least you have your degree, like we're fine with you doing that and we'll support you. So
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank goodness. Thank goodness
yeah.
for supportive parents who who aren't in the world. Like they're not only how do I say this? My parents when I was in college, they were like get
Mhm.
a degree, at least get a degree in something that you could get a job in if you needed to. But we
Yeah.
support you, but also the whole painting world they weren't living in. They had never been exposed to
Yeah.
fine arts or galleries or how that was run, commissioned work. Um, it's just not the world that they were living in. And so, kind of imagining success in that sort of environment or the career path, it's hard when you're not in it. Um, I mean, even if you want to be an artist, there's so many questions and doubts and worries of like, can I make it? And so
Yeah.
I'm grateful for parents who counsel and provide the support that we need. We need that. We need the validation that we have their support and their encouragement, and they're like still encouraging us forward. That like we need that. When we don't have that, then it
Hmm.
it really makes it harder. It almost like drags you down because you still want to do it, and then
Yeah.
when you're an
Yeah.
adult, when you're out of school, you can technically do whatever
Yeah.
you want, but it's so good to have that support. I'm glad that you have
Yeah.
that. Okay,
No,
so
exactly.
you started doing live painting. You mentioned an Etsy shop. Do
Yeah.
you I mean, that it's been about a year now. What does your business look like? How much of your time is spent doing live paintings, taking those bookings, doing admin for your business, marketing, things like that, and then working on your fine art?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. My schedule is a little bit all over the place because,
As
wedding
it should be.
season. Yeah, wedding season is super hot in Florida. It's super high in the fall and winter and spring, and then it just goes down in the summer because no one really
Right.
gets married like during the summertime. It's a lot less people. So I summertime, I'm definitely more of doing like the business stuff, like updating everything, website work, and then a lot of more time for my original art. But during like wedding season, it's like I'm just trying to like do the weddings, like have like balance like my leisure time and then my working time because I'm traveling a lot mostly for because Florida is kind of it's weird. It's a
It's
peninsula, so
big.
like yeah, it's big. So like I'll take like because Orlando's pretty central, it's not like it's probably like 3 hours, like anywhere in Florida you can get in around like 3 to 3 hours, under 3 hours. So I'll take weddings like up and down Florida. My grandparents, I'm originally from West Palm Beach, so my grandparents still live in West Palm, and my parents moved to Jacksonville, and then I'm in Orlando. So wherever I go, I usually like have family. So
Mhm.
that's kind of my balance, I guess. I try to continue to do Etsy throughout like Etsy's always been a stable thing throughout college, even when I just transitioned to live wedding painting, it's still been pretty steady. So but I'm trying to put out like a new collection of prints soon because I'm partnering with a new like print company that can ship like internationally. Because
So great.
yeah, yeah. So I'm super excited for that. Yeah, because right now I've only been offering like from the United States because I run it all. Like I have my printer and everything at home and
Mhm.
everything. So it was funny during college, like my friends, I'd be going to the post office at like midnight, like doing self-service, like shipping like all my prints because like in the daytime I had class and then I had my internship and then I had all this stuff. So post college, like balancing everything is a lot more easier because I don't have classes and I don't have
Mhm.
physics and everything. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I get that. That's really exciting. That's like big
yeah,
growth. I'm sure with the fact that you are now a viral sensation as a live wedding painter,
yeah,
like the word is out. And so I'm sure you would love to serve people outside of the country. That's amazing. That's really exciting. We're gonna have to
yeah,
talk about that this printing
yeah,
source. We're gonna talk
yes,
about that later.
yeah,
That's amazing. Oh, okay. You may have heard me talk about my little side business, my little fine art print shop. I create an original painting, I take a photo of it, and I print it, and I print it again and again and again. I make hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars a year on prints. It's so easy. And I learned everything I know about creating my own prints and printing them in house from Laurie Ann Gonzalez and her Art to Print course. I highly recommend if you are an artist and you want to make easy money from your original works and even the commission works, you can resell those as prints. I recommend you check out Art to Print. Laurie Ann has a very direct way of teaching, and you are really going to appreciate her no fluff method of giving you information and telling you exactly what you need to do to make making fine art prints in your own studio a breeze. You can check her out online at learn.laurieannart.com. That's learn at LAURIEANNEART.com, or just click the link in the show notes for my affiliate link. Check her out and thank me later. Oh, okay, so what type of original work do you do? What do you love? Because when it's your original work, it's you can create whatever you want, whatever you're inspired to create. So what inspires you?
yeah. Originally, growing up, like I was super inspired by landscapes and nature, and I still am. I'm still very much like a landscape artist. Like I love nature, and um, I actually learned a lot through Bob Ross. So like I would watch YouTube videos like growing up of him, and I just loved naturescapes. And then, as I started doing, live wedding painting, I started like working more on like humans, and obviously, because you have to paint the bride and groom, and then I really fell in love with like um adding like the human elements to like the paintings as well, like because landscapes are really beautiful on their own, but then when you add also human elements like architecture, just like anything that's human, like it feels so like I can feel like I can relate to them a little bit more too, where it's like it feels real,
Mhm.
and like you can I wanted I think I'm transitioning more now with my painting and with my artwork into more like of a deeper meaning behind like just like because beauty, I think what I'm really inspired about by is um the true, the good, and the beautiful, like the three transcendentals, and I just love that because it just connects you with not only like God, but just it just connects you to like something more. There's something more, something eternal, really. And I
Yeah.
feel like art has really for me spoken to me through just this like as artists we have this ability to like speak this like eternal truth where it just like flows from ever since, like you can look back at a painting hundreds and hundreds of years ago,
Mhm.
and you can see it and relate to it, and it's just so beautiful because this like art and beauty has been captured throughout centuries like a stream of time, and it's just offering this like glimpse of like eternal like truth that I don't know. I just think it's so beautiful. And so for me, I'm definitely a deeper thinker. I'm definitely more of a person who enjoys thinking um, deep thoughts and theology and philosophy. So that's kind of where my art is heading towards. And yeah, I'm really excited for it.
I
So.
can't wait to see your new collection. Hey, live wedding painters. Have you taken a minute to evaluate your business yet? Have you started to think about next year yet? As this year comes to a close, it's important for each of us to take a moment and reflect. Did you hit the goals you set for yourself? Did you set goals at the beginning of the year at all? Was there any clarity in your vision for your creative business? Or have you just been hanging on for the ride? Now, imagine starting next year with a clear plan, a year where you're building a stellar portfolio and booking dream weddings, showing up with confidence, and taking bold steps toward your career goals. That's exactly what my goal setting workbook is here to help you achieve. Created for the members of my online course, The Wedding Painter's Blueprint, the goal setting workbook is more than just a place to jot down ideas. It is your roadmap to success for the year ahead. With guided evaluations, you'll identify your unique personal and professional challenges. You'll address physical and psychological elements that might be holding you back. And you will set clear, achievable goals and map out the steps to reach them so you can turn your vision into reality. This workbook is free to download and print so you can physically write down your goals. It includes tools to help you track your growth and adjust as needed, and will actually help you take vague dreams and turn them into concrete plans, and turn those plans into real success. Next year doesn't have to feel uncertain. The goal setting workbook will help you take charge of your career and step into the new year with purpose and direction. Click the link in the show notes to download your free version of my goal setting workbook and kick 2025 off with clarity. I love what you mentioned about the, representing something years and years in the future. And what I'm thinking of is like the image, the finished painting, okay, and how it affects or impacts people who view it moving forward. Even when you look
Yeah,
at it, it's what does it mean to you now that it's done? This is a complete painting. But what also on another layer to this onion,
yeah,
this emotional,
yeah.
sentimental onion, what a privilege it is to be the artist, to go through to experience the process of creating the piece, finding inspiration for a reason that may not be directly related to what will be inspiring when the painting is done. You know what I mean? Like if you go set
Yeah,
up and
yeah.
paint at the beach. You're just like, oh, I'm inspired by the light today, and you paint it, and then
Yeah.
later on, it becomes this really moving piece of art that people can relate to on a completely different reason, for a different reason, and
Yeah.
so it's a privilege to be the artist, to create the work, and it's almost a responsibility. And I feel that way too. I'm sure you feel that way too at weddings. Whenever we're creating pieces for our clients,
Yeah.
it is landscape and all the beautiful elements of what we're creating, but the portraits as well. There's a responsibility that we have to pour ourselves into creating the works, do a really good job, but also kind of insert what we have to give, what we were created to do. It's a responsibility. So, if you have any artistic ability, you, the listener, okay, or the person watching YouTube right now, if you are an artist at heart, or you were the art kid in school, but you have a different career, what can you put into the world? What impact can you make with the gifts that you were given at birth? Like there is a
Yeah.
little bit of responsibility there. And even if that means just teaching kids how to paint, what can
Yeah.
you give in small ways, in large ways? Can you make it your entire career? Like, you decided kind of fatefully, when you didn't get those jobs, like you were like
Yeah.
internally kind of like delighted
Yeah.
and relieved that you didn't get those
Yeah.
jobs that you had been
Yeah.
working towards. But it was
Yeah.
like fate was telling you, that's not your calling, that's not your vocation. Like, you have something, and we have something else planned for you. God too, very heavily involved
Yeah.
in our lives. It's just insane. I love that.
Yes.
That's such a fun way to think about it. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that, and then pulling
Of
that thought out
course.
of me, because I didn't wake up this morning thinking about that.
No, yeah. Of
Ah,
course.
okay, so oh, wait, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. I
I
was
know we
gonna
could just
say,
do
yeah.
this all
I know.
day.
I
We
could
could go
totally
on
just,
and on.
yeah, like my deep thoughts can just keep going and going and just like,
Yeah. Very deep. We're not just
yeah,
little painter girls who are just like mix and paint, make paint pretty things. It's so much deeper than that. And it's so
it is.
fun. I love it.
It is. Yeah.
So you're running an art business. This is wonderful. You've got different streams of projects and income. That you run the Etsy shop, you've got your bookings. You've been doing this full time for a year now, but you've been painting at weddings for a number of years. Something happened. You were on Instagram, you were posting
Yeah.
reels and having fun with it, as we all do.
Yeah.
And you had a real kick off and go like completely viral all around the
Yeah.
world, millions and millions of views.
Yeah.
What kind of effect did that have on you in terms of business? What happened with your business? Did inquiries blow up?
Yeah.
Did it, I recently recorded an episode with Nicolette, and she also had a similar experience. You
Yeah.
have a post go viral. What does that do for you, psychologically? Tell me about that experience of going viral. How's it been?
Yeah. It has been it transformed like a lot of like my trajectory of like my
Hmm.
career. Because like if that hadn't gone viral, I don't know if, I probably would be doing engineering right now and working um at Lockheed Martin or something like that. But uh yeah, I was honestly, it's crazy how you bring up the viral video because I had honestly been praying to God, like, because I had been so stressed out doing like I'd work in the lab like at Lockheed. I was working at the Missiles and Fire Control, and I'd be working in this lab, and it would just be so depressing because I loved the people I worked with, but I was like, my time, I would just watch the clock go by, and I'm like, I could be painting right now. I could be
Oh
doing
my
something I
gosh.
love.
Hmm.
And I just was like, I can't see myself doing this 10 hours a day and all of this. And so I was praying and I was stressed out from physics and I was graduating soon. Uh, and I was like, God, like, if this is like something that you want me to pursue, like, this is my calling, I really need your help to like make a way for this to be possible. And he really, like, it was crazy because I was kind of just praying for like a viral video because I was like, that would be great. And it was so crazy. He over delivered because it went crazy
Mhm.
viral, and yeah, it completely changed. Like I was getting inquiries flooding in, and I was trying to keep up with everything, and um and yeah, I was just kind of shocked. Like I didn't know where to go from there because
Mhm.
I was like, well, I don't really know. Like I'm graduating. I'm not sure if I'm gonna have a job, if I'm gonna have like a regular job or go into art full time. And so for me, yeah, that it is definitely also like when you start getting more followers because of this video that goes viral, you're also kind of more nervous because like now you're posting to a lot more people and you can't just like I don't know, at least me, I would post like really more like my deep thoughts and like with my art and everything, and really like be myself and everything, and then you kind of get more nervous when more people are watching you and you're like kind of scared to put out more content because it's like, oh, like, I don't know how this is gonna be received or anything like that.
Mm.
So for me, yeah, I think I've it's been a year now and I've kind of like fought through that and I've realized, yeah, like as an artist, like I can still put out what I want to put out and be myself and be real and not worry as much about what all these people are gonna think or, I think yeah, I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned too that, and also like that my main job is art, being an artist. Like I think nowadays it's like now you have to be a content creator and an artist nowadays because that's what's gonna draw in, people to find your art. And so just trying to find that balance of staying true to yourself really and your art,
Mhm.
regardless of all those people watching and
I completely understand. Have you ever posted
yeah.
something that you felt really good about and maybe was more thought-provoking, more personal, and you lost followers? Has that ever happened?
Hmm. I'm trying to think.
That has happened to me before. I post live wedding painting content. That's what I'm known for. That's my
Yeah,
thing. And then I'll post
yeah,
something relative to my life, which it's my social media account. Like I could post whatever I want, and
yeah.
I'll post something unrelated to the topic that people followed me for, the entertainment factor, and then I'll see 1,000 people just drop off, and
Oh my
I
gosh,
have
yeah.
to be okay with that, you know,
Yeah,
the majority of those huge numbers that kind of show up out of the blue whenever something goes viral, I have to be
yeah,
okay with, not being their cup of tea. They just saw the one post, they liked the one post for whatever reason, and
yeah,
then moving forward, what does
yeah,
that number mean? Those individual people, are they that's something that I've had to really sit with and think about and kind of let go, because then
yeah,
you want the number, you want the vanity metric of having a lot of followers. That's what people are really impressed by, and that for a lot of people that's why they'll hire you, because you're
mhm,
the best or the most well known or whatever. And so whenever
yeah,
you start to lose that number, you start to feel like, oh, I messed up. Uh-oh.
yeah,
I'm backtracking, like I'm doing something wrong. And in reality,
yeah,
you're not. So that's just
mhm.
kind of a trip. So I was wondering if you had experienced that.
Yeah, I definitely have experienced that. I'm still
Mhm.
experiencing that today because, with the viral videos, like you'll gain a lot of followers, like you said, and then most of those people aren't really there, like they're there for that from that one video, but
Mhm.
it's really hard to get the people to really connect with you, and stay with you and stay with your journey, and I think that's what I realized too, because I have been kind of scared as an artist too, like putting out more of yourself, more of like who you are. But that's actually like being more vulnerable. That's actually where you're going to actually see the people that are going to stick with you, who are going to connect
Yes.
with you. And so in order to grow, really, you have to put yourself out there and you have to risk losing a lot of followers to weed out the people that are just not going to be there for you, they're not there
Mhm.
for you really. And they're not connecting with you, but you are going to gain a lot of people who are going to stick with you throughout it and who will connect with you and your story and your artwork. So yeah,
Absolutely. And there's something beautiful about what we do as live painters, service providers, is that the people that follow us are fans for different reasons. Maybe they're a fan of the work.
yeah,
but maybe they're really a fan of you and would love anything that
Mhm.
you created just because it's you. They'll hire you for that reason. They'll tell their friends to follow, oh, you should follow this account. She's just the sweetest thing. I love what she says. I love what she shares. I
Yeah.
love what she puts out. And it's not related to the art at all. Like they're so it
Yeah.
really is a beautiful thing to be authentic. That's good advice to other artists who are just starting this journey. Um, you have experience with that, which is wonderful. So thank you for sharing that. That's what I really wanted
Thank
to
you.
ask. I
Yeah.
invited you on the podcast to hear what you thought about that whole experience, when you're just starting out and you have a couple thousand followers, seeing other people. Because I teach artists, I've got an online course and all, and
Yeah.
so we're constantly having these conversations, and the new artist sees other artists going viral, and it's like, how come that hasn't happened to me yet? And so
Mhm.
there's a lot of emotions around it. There's a lot of feeling imposter syndrome, or like judging yourself, or comparing your work to their work, and I'm sure that you've done the same thing, especially
Yeah.
throughout your career. Like, we're all human, we all do
Yeah,
fall
exactly.
victim to that. So
Exactly.
I think it's important to talk about, and for people to
Mhm.
see that you're just doing your thing, like you
Yeah.
the algorithm picked you up. That was wonderful, and now it's
Mhm.
going really well. That's awesome.
Yeah.
The live painting, your painting style
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
adorable. I love it.
Thank
I love
you.
you're very
Thank
talented.
you.
I know I was really excited to look through your Instagram again. It's so
Yeah.
colorful. It's so beautiful.
Yes,
I
I'm very
see
vibrant.
it's very vibrant. Oh my gosh. It's
Yeah.
it's it's very colorful. I love the outdoors. Do you prefer painting outdoors or painting indoors? Like, what, because indoors is a little bit more
Um,
controllable. Outdoors could be
yes.
hot. You could be dealing with, especially in Florida, dealing with the
Yes.
wind, the elements. What do you prefer?
Yeah. Um, I've actually it's so funny. I was actually thinking about like making a thing of making like putting out a post about this because it's so funny because when you're painting weddings outside and the different you have to like it really only comes with like going to weddings and experiencing all the different types of weather. But you really have to like adapt to that because if
Hmm.
it's humid outside, my paint's not gonna dry as the way I'm going to that way I'm used to, as opposed to like an air conditioned like indoors. So you have to paint in a different I feel like you have to paint in a different way or plan out for
Yes.
that. Versus, if it's also like, yeah, going to weddings and it's like 95 degrees out and it's Florida in the summer, it's like I'm bringing like bottles of water, neck fans. Yeah, it's a lot, but yeah,
It's quite
I feel like
uncomfortable.
yeah, yeah, and it will like literally storm out of the blue
Mm-hmm.
in Florida. I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty sure it's probably the same in Louisiana like that. It just comes like the afternoon rainstorm and then goes and it's all sunny again. So it's like, yeah, it's just preparing for that. But I do love working outside because I feel like you can be really close to like the nature and the scene that you're
Mm-hmm.
painting and really feel the atmosphere. But it does make things a lot easier when it's just air conditioned and you know what to expect, the temperature, and
Yes.
you don't have to worry about it raining.
Yeah. I completely agree. There's pros and cons. I prefer
Yeah.
to be able to observe what I'm painting, so
Mhm. Mhm.
I can do the thing where I paint at the reception, but I use photo references from the ceremony, which was a different location or whatever. But
Yeah.
it's not the same. It's not the same
Yeah.
as standing there and painting what you see and then playing with the light and the color, and oh, it's so fun. I know, and Florida weddings are
Yeah.
just gorgeous, but hot. What
Yeah.
okay, you mentioned you mentioned, like, the weather coming out of nowhere. Do you have any, like, horror stories of things that have
Oh,
happened to you at a wedding? Like, what's,
I
like
have so many.
I bet you do,
I have
painting
so many.
outside. Okay, pick one. Pick
Yeah.
one that's like,
Oh.
y'all will never believe what happened.
Okay, so this one wasn't really at the wedding, but I made it to the wedding. I was driving on, I forgot, I think it was like I-95 in Florida. It's like the road that goes up and south. So I was driving down to a wedding and it was like pouring rain and I had just gotten like a new car, a new truck, because I had saved up and like I was in like a really busted old truck before, and like, so I got a new one. I was like, this is my first wedding after getting the new car, and it was pouring rain and people were stuck in traffic, and then this guy behind me like bumps the back of my car, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm thinking like it like jolted my car forward because it was like a pretty decent bump, and I'm like stressed out, so I pull to the side. I'm like in wedding attire and everything, like ready for this wedding, and I have to like exchange insurance numbers and everything. But then, I'm like, okay, I gotta like pick myself together and make it to this wedding. And then I ended up making it on time, like early to this wedding, and it's like all sunny at the wedding and everything's fine. But I'm like, I just went through like the biggest stressed out.
Wait, did that affect the process of the painting? Because when in my life, when something crazy happens, or
Yeah,
I'm made to be uncomfortable, or something bad happens, and I have to like regroup and rethink how I look back at the painting and I'm like, I hate it. I hate looking at it because it's tied to this horrible experience.
yeah,
Was it like
yeah.
that?
No,
Or
I
did
don't
it
think
like
so.
work out?
It worked out, yeah, but I'm just like I every time I see that painting, I think of like, "Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, like what happened beforehand?" And I'm like, "Thank
Woo.
goodness." And then it was actually, oh my gosh, one other one that's really funny, really fast. It's like I was painting. It's one of the like funnest weddings I've ever painted. But there was like this gust of wind, like as the bride's going down the aisle, like, and I'm in the back too. And it like almost, it literally like closed my easel down, and I'm like, ah, like, but everything was fine. It wasn't
Woo.
too noticeable. I don't think it made a noise, but it wasn't like.
Oh, it
But
probably
I'm
like
like,
slammed shut.
yeah, it slammed shut, and people like, people were like, "Is she okay?" But
The
yeah,
weather. The
you
weather
can't
works against
control.
us. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
What fellow entrepreneurs, listen up. Let's talk about protecting your business. We all know that having a solid contract is essential, but drafting them is daunting and can be very expensive. I'm an artist, I'm not a lawyer for a reason. That's where the legal page comes in. The legal page offers attorney drafted contract templates tailored for creatives and small business owners like you and me. Whether you're a photographer, an artist, a business coach, a designer, or an event planner, or what have you, they've got you covered. These templates are easy to customize and come with very clear instructions that include free future updates. That's huge. I was honored to be asked to review their live event artist contract, and it checks all the boxes for me. Don't leave your business vulnerable. Invest in peace of mind with the Legal Pages contract templates. So, if you're ready to get your business legally legit, head to the show notes and click the link to save 10% off any product in the shop, or use my code StephanieG10. Again, get your business legally legit with a Legal Page contract today.
yeah.
What is one of your favorite experiences or memories from painting at a wedding?
Ooh, I feel like at that same wedding that I told you that the wind shut down, like my
Uh-huh.
canvas, that was like I was starting out, and that was one of my first couple weddings that I went to, and that like I remember coming home from that wedding and I just felt so much like joy, and like I'm like, this is what I'm meant to do. Like this is something
Oh.
that I feel like I'm meant to do because just the couple was so sweet that night, and like, well, all my couples are so sweet, but like they were just like, they just like, they really like, all of their guests appreciated art. They just really appreciate art. And when you have like so many people just really like art enthusiasts and lovers, like it just made me feel like so loved and so like, yeah, appreciated, and like I just felt like this is my calling. This is what I'm meant to do, right? I like, and yeah, so I think that
That's
was one of
awesome.
like the sweetest memories. Yeah.
That's very uplifting, especially after it's like a panic moment,
Yeah.
validation. My love language is words of affirmation. And so going and doing this job, it's like it fills my cup whenever people are complimentary, or, just in awe, or really appreciative, or, that really, I ride home feeling filled, like my cup is
Yeah.
full. It's such a good feeling, and
Yeah.
it helps you get past the fact that your feet are killing you, and your back is hurting, and your hands are all, carpal tunnel, and
Yeah.
because the job itself is like so hard.
Yeah,
Your painting
exactly.
style is like it's so colorful and
Yeah.
vibrant. What when you set up and you're looking at a blank canvas,
Yeah.
what are you the most excited to start to tackle? Like, what's the process there?
Hmm. The usually I'll start on the composition because I feel like once you get a good composition down, like I realized that doing this for a while, like the composition's so important at the beginning, because it creates interest. It really shows like the direction of where you're heading and what you're wanting to like um, focus in on. And yeah, so I really, as I'm starting the composition, actually I do know what I'm my favorite parts is like um, I love putting the sky in after you lay down your trees and everything. Well, I lay down my trees first because like I feel like as from like even like science and physics, um, it's light travels through things, so things will like block light, right? So to make that effect of like almost like a that photography like blurred effect kind of that like sunlight's coming through the trees. I lay down the light sky after I do the trees, the dark trees,
Mm-hmm.
and it just makes everything pop. And then that's when guests usually are like, oh my gosh, like she's painting the scene and everything. So it really comes together after that. And then the relief comes after I put in the couple and I'm like really satisfied with like how the couple looks and like it looks like them, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, like that's I don't know, so and so," or like,
Yeah.
they really can tell. And like so I think those are like the stages of like, okay, like you can relax more because like at first I'm just like go go go, like I want to like, um work as, I think yeah, I try to like work efficiently as possible.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's part of the job because you only have a few
Yeah,
hours, you know?
exactly.
It's like so stressful whenever you for me anyway, whenever I'm like working on a
Mhm.
portrait and I'm not quite getting it
Yeah.
right and it's taking me longer than I try to budget an hour to paint the couple, let's just say. And if it's taking me like 45 minutes just to paint one of their faces, that starts to
Yeah.
stress me out. Is there ever a point in the evening that you find to be really um stressful or like it's dreadful, is there ever a point it's something that happens to you like regularly, and how do you kind of recover from that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I've made a lot of mistakes that I've had to cover over. So I definitely know the feeling of like being like, oh, this isn't working or I need to resize this. Even like after dinner, like taking a break from your painting and then like going back to it, you see things that you're like, oh my gosh, this was off the entire time, and then you have to fix it. With time, there was this wedding that I forgot that they'd mentioned it, but I misunderstood, and it was only 2 hours. Um, and I thought I had like 3 to 4 hours,
Mm,
but it was really only 2 to 3 hours. But thankfully, like they gave me some time afterwards because not people were still slow to leave and everything, so it was like more like 3 hours. But that moment, I had that like panic where I was like, oh my gosh, like I need to finish this. And like because it was also like a destination wedding, so it was like not in Florida, and so I was like I'm expected to like leave this here, like I can't. I'm leaving tomorrow. Like, I can't pick it up. But it ended up working out fine because they gave me more time to like as people were cleaning up. But I think I kind of just like breathe, take a couple breaths, and I'm like, okay, I need to like ground myself and remind myself, like, yeah, it'll be okay. Like, everything, you can always fix it. I think that's the beauty of art is you can always fix it. And it's always there's no mistakes that like are too far gone that you can't come back from, that you can't recover from. So, that's kind of what I remind myself. Like, yeah.
that's really good advice. That's one of the things that I love that you said you spend time working on the composition and kind of getting that plan, because
Yeah.
anytime that I have seriously regretted making the decision on a painting and it was too late to go back because I had already
Oh,
put
yeah.
so much paint down. It was an error with the composition. And so
Oh,
spending the time, like little, like where you put a
yeah.
flower, you can paint over that, you could scrape it away, whatever. You use
Yes,
acrylic
yeah.
paints?
Yeah, I use acrylic. Yeah.
So acrylics, you can just leave it alone for a minute and then come back and layer
Come back.
over it,
Yeah.
right? And oils,
Yeah.
you have to like like wipe it away,
No,
smudge it
yeah.
away, and it's a good like the quality of the blending and how the paints work. It works. It's fine. You'd rather honestly like wipe it away with solvent
Mm.
completely and then come back
Mhm.
as opposed to painting over it, definitely. But yeah, anything. Oh, yeah. I've looked at compositions. There have been times where I painted the bride too large and too close. And so by the time I painted her gown correctly, like I planned to put her too close. And
Mm.
when I got the reference, her gown just kind of swooshed lower than I
Oh,
planned. And
yeah.
I had to cut it off because the composition was planned and I had to put her there. I
Mhm.
couldn't really adjust it too much. And I was like, I dog it. Because now that's going to bother me because her dress is just cut
No.
off at the bottom. And the painting is lovely. Like, I wouldn't, when you
Yeah.
look at the painting as a whole, you're like, I have to be okay with this because it
Yeah.
works. It's just
It works.
not, it's just like one of those little like
Yeah.
planning things. But, it's,
Yeah.
you have to have like a not, that's your least favorite. That's not my favorite
Mhm.
piece. That's not top of the portfolio on the website. Do you have any paintings that you, and of course, you're not going to call out the
Yeah.
exact piece or the exact client. We don't do that. But is there anything that you think of like, and it keeps you up at night, like, ugh, ugh, I wish I could redo that one.
Yeah.
Any paintings or choices that you made in a painting? I'm trying to learn. We're all
Yeah.
trying to learn from other
Yeah,
people's stories and
exactly.
mistakes and stuff. What do you think?
Yeah, it's so funny that you said that because I was totally relating. Because sometimes it's like but, you, like, see something that you don't like, and it'll bother you forever, but but to everyone else, no one, like, will
Nobody
even
cares.
notice. They're like, "This looks great." I don't even, and especially I'll show my mom afterwards because 'cause I'm like, "Mom, I just need some reassurance, like, does this look okay? Like, I'm bothered by this," but she's like, "It looks fine. It looks great, honey. I didn't even notice that until you, like, pointed it out to me," and it's so funny because like, for the couples, like, everything is so, like for them, it's, like, perfect because it's them, you know what I mean? For couples, it's like, this is something they're gonna treasure forever, and they're gonna see it, and they're gonna be like, "I love it because it captures them and the moment, the feelings." But yeah, like, technically as a like, you see all the technical things as an artist, and you're always, like, gonna be your biggest critic. And so, for me, I feel like, yeah, I've done things where I'm like, "Oh, like, I think I should have made the head smaller in this, or this doesn't look as proportionate," but no one even notices, and you're like but I'm like, I even went one time after a wedding, I went to, like everyone was, like, in love the painting and everything, and I still even I look back at it now and I love it too now, but, like, in the moment after the painting and I left the wedding, I couldn't do anything after I varnished it and everything, I, like, was so, like, irritated, I went to the gym and I ran, like, 2 miles because 'cause I'm like, "I need to get this out," like, I'm so mad at myself I didn't fix this
Yeah.
painting, but now I look back at the painting and I love it, and I'm like, "Okay, like, what are you gonna do? You can't do anything. You gotta just gotta, like, be like,
Just let
like,
it go.
just
Especially if
let
the
it
client
go."
loves
Yeah.
it. That's
Yeah.
my I want to be happy with the painting. I want to grow as an artist. Like it certainly has to reach my standards and satisfy what I need to
Mhm.
create. Yeah, but if the client loves it, I need to be able to let it go and move on
Yeah.
because I'll lose
Mhm.
sleep. I do this thing whenever I come home from a wedding. I Now that I
Yeah.
work in oils, I bring all the paintings back to either touch
And
up or
yeah.
just to put them on a rack and let them dry. And I walk in the door at like 1 a.m. The whole house is asleep. And I walk in and I put my bags down in the studio and I put the painting on the wall and I just like stand there and look at it. And if it's a painting I really love, like I'll get a couple little
Yeah.
clips or pictures to like post about it or whatever and just like stand there in awe. And then if it's something that I really need to fix, I just stand there and just like study it and make like notes. I'll write down a
Yes.
couple of things that I wanted to fix to it that whenever I could get to it the next day or the next week or whatever. And I just think it's so funny. Like we sit there and we think about it and we like torture ourselves about the decisions
Mm.
that we make. And that's like an artist's curse, like we can
Yeah.
make really pretty things, but at the same time, it eats us alive. I
Yes.
think that it's so good to
No.
hear that it bothers you too.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm having so much fun with this call. I hope everyone
Yeah.
listening is
No.
laughing
Me
right
too.
along. Yeah, this is fun. We could talk about all this stuff forever. And I love talking
I
about
know.
the process of creating the paintings and the effect that the process of doing the work at the weddings. Like it's such a heavy an experience, like I love
Yeah.
talking about that. I have two like other super important questions that I want to get into. One of them is you've switched careers, like huge jump, opposites, right?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
is something that you learned either in school or as you were preparing to become an engineer, things like that? um,
Yeah.
what is a skill or something that you learned about yourself, something that you have been able to take and translate into your job, your career now as an artist and a wedding painter?
Yeah. I think as I was working for I interned at Lockheed for a while, like in college, and I realized my last year of college, I had switched to like being a manufacturing engineer, and I realized I enjoyed talking to all the other engineers and not doing my work more than more than my actual work. Like it was bad. I would just go and visit everybody, and like they didn't really have much work for me anyways because they knew I was leaving. They knew I was um yeah, I wasn't planning to stay or whatever. And so they were just like, or at least in MEC, the building I was at. But
Mm-hmm.
I was looking for other jobs, and yeah, I realized like, oh my gosh, I love socializing. I feel like I love meetings. I love talking to people versus like doing numbers and doing specs and doing checking all these things like on the mathematical side. And I'm like, yeah, this isn't for me. Like, and then I realized too, at doing weddings and everything, I'm like, I'm talking to people, I'm doing art, like these are two combines two things that I love to do. And yeah, I just was like, okay, like that's something. I think the social aspect of like, I'm a very like sociable person, and I need to be with others, and I need to be able to like work with other people. Like I hated the isolation I felt doing like just lab work or individual work. But so I definitely realized that was something that I could that I that's something I realized about myself with what kind of job I wanted. And then the physics, although I definitely had a lot of physics useful things that I learned in physics and math that I am able to apply even to art, because I feel like there's so much like physics in art, there's so much math in art. When you look at compositions, when you look at how light reflects on things, and the different hues and colors, it's all optics, or it's physics and math, like geometry. And so there's so many things that I love making the connections between physics and math and art, because I still have that passion for physics and math. Like I love just learning more about it, and being able to just, yeah, like see how I connect art with it. So yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. I love
Yeah.
hearing everybody's stories of how they went from, doing this one particular job, or, they were on a path to do something completely different and then discovered something about themselves that translates perfectly to what we do as live painters. And,
Yeah.
the world of artists being, selling art, creating art, this path of being an artist and utilizing your skill set in a career and profiting from it, like being an artist, being an independent working artist, looks differently for a lot of people. Live wedding
Yeah.
painting is like such a niche thing because it requires you to be more extroverted and to turn that on and to be a performer and also to create beautiful, compelling artwork that works, having so your skill set and understanding compositions and using geometry and using your observational skills are off the chart. Like this is going to be, you're going to have so much fun continuing to grow and develop those skills and continuing
Yeah.
to observe, make observations about nature and portraiture and movement and light. And I mean, this is so exciting. I'm excited for you. Where do
Yeah.
you see your career going? And I'm sure that'll like shift in the future as life changes and stuff, but you know Are you just riding this tidal wave, or do you have like plans?
I think a little bit of both. Like right now, I'm still riding this like wave of like weddings, and I love weddings and seeing where weddings go and where weddings take me. And then I also have plans on my original art. Um, and you know, in the end, I really hope to put out like a collection of my original art, and like in the future, like way down the line, I would love to like be able to figure out something with like a gallery or something like that, or a showcase or something. I feel like yeah, there's things like with my original art that I definitely want to put out and want to say with my art. And yeah, that's something that I'm super excited about. It's definitely still in the beginning of the works, but uh, yeah, some things just come through time, and I'm just
Mm-hmm.
gonna take it one step at a time. And yeah, like I think that's where I'm wanting to head, and but I definitely still love weddings, so
Yeah.
I don't plan to stop weddings anytime soon. So
That's so exciting. I could see the
yeah,
passion. Like there's like a twinkle in your eye. Like you love what you do. You're so passionate about it and you're
yeah,
gifted. I mean, you're incredibly talented. And so I cannot wait to see where your career takes you, where opportunities
yeah.
take you. You know, this is going to be so much fun. It's been such a pleasure chatting with you. Where can our listeners follow you online or visit or inquire to hire you?
Yeah, so my website's allyallianicart.com, and then that's where you can find my contacts for commissions and weddings. And then my Instagram's @allianicart underscore art. And then my Etsy is @allianic art, the same thing. And then I think, yeah, TikTok's the same, @allianic art underscore art. And then Facebook's Ally Allianic, and then YouTube's Ally Allianic. So, and then if you
Girl,
need me to spell my name, it's A
please
L
do.
L Y ALLY ALLIANIC. So that's Ally Allianic.
Thank you so much for the people who are listening who are saying, "Oh,
Yeah,
what is she saying?" That I
that's
get
my
it.
name.
My last name is insane. Ettore Grossa, my maiden name is insane. Like I can't when I always my joke is when I'm dead and gone, it's gonna be a
Yeah,
household name. Everybody's gonna know
yeah,
it. Like Picasso, but for now,
yeah,
it's a pain. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with
yeah.
me. I wish you the
Thank
best of
you.
luck with your original art and your career as a live wedding painter. I'm going to link your Instagram and your website and your Etsy shop too, so people can shop your beautiful fine art prints. Um, let's stay in touch. You are so fun.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It was such an honor. So
You're
thank
very
you.
welcome. All right, I'll talk to you soon, Allie.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for tuning in and joining us on this journey of artistic exploration, entrepreneurial growth, and personal development. Remember, you have the power to create a life that is both fulfilled and balanced. If you enjoyed today's podcast, please subscribe to The Composed Artist on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And don't forget to leave us a review. Your feedback means the world to us and helps us reach more creatives like you. Until next time, keep creating, keep dreaming, and keep pursuing that composed life. You got this.